If you come from After Effects, you know this. This is called a light sweep. DaVinci Resolve doesn't have it, and it's used everywhere. It's crazy. So today we are doing this. Similar to the one everyone uses from After Effects. I'll guide you through the step-by-step to get the node tree going and packaging it into a reusable tool. And real quick, in case you don't want to or have time to learn this, you can grab this macro for $5 at my coffee store. Now, the step-by-step to build this tool might seem long, but once you create it, it will always be there for you to reuse. Plus, you will learn a lot in the process, so don't be a crybaby and let's get to it. Okay, so the first step is to have an image on which you want to build the sweep. Right-click on it, then open in Fusion. I'll make some space here to have enough for the whole node tree. Let's start with a custom tool. It should be called Custom Tool 1. Open the inspector, then we'll create the necessary controls. I'll show you how to do the first one, and then you can copy the rest from the examples on screen or from the description down below. On the inspector, right-click on the name of your node, then Edit Controls. For the name, we add Sweep Intensity. It should be a number. The page should be Controls. The default, we leave it at 0.5, range from 0 to 1. Allowed from 0 to 1 as well. And the input control will be a slider control. Okay, that's one. 8 more to go. Please make sure you take your time to build each tool with the parameters I'm showing on screen. If you feel lost, you can also get the tool parameters from the description. That's the most boring part out. Now let's get the base node tree going. We have to create a bitmap node called bitmap1 and connect our custom tool output to the yellow input. By the way, make sure the names of your nodes are the same as mine to avoid any mistakes with expressions later down the line. Next, a transform node. This will be transform1. Connect the bitmap1 output to the transform1 yellow input. Select both nodes and create an underlay. Deselect everything and select the underlay by alt-clicking on the frame with the name. Then press F2 and rename it to Mask Extraction. Next up, create a merge node called merge1 and connect custom tool 1 to its yellow input. Then transform 1 to its green input. Create a bitmap node called bitmap2 and connect its output to the blue input of merge1. Right, let me move this a little bit by using the middle click and dragging. Create a brightness contrast node called brightness contrast 1. Okay, see? This dumbass was automatically named brightness contrast 2 for some reason. That's why it's important for you to follow my naming convention. In this case, I'll leave it as it is since this specific node won't have any expressions or weird connections on it. Next up, connect merge1 to the yellow input of brightness contrast 1. Select those three nodes and create an underlay. Rename it Edge Isolation. Create a merge node called merge2 and connect brightness contrast 1 to its yellow input. Create a bitmap node called bitmap3 and connect its output to the green input of merge2. This is a small one. Select those two, create an underlay, rename it to sweep. Let me move this to the left. Create a background node. Connect merge2 to the blue input of our background node. Rename this to background 2, alright? Background 2, not 1, 2. Good. Create another merge node called merge3. Connect custom tool 1 to its yellow input and background 2 to its green input. Create a matte control and call it matte control 1. Connect merge 3 to the yellow input of matte control 1, then custom tool 1 to the gray input of matte control 1. Be careful, it has a lot of inputs, so don't miss it. Create another matte control, call it matte control 2, and connect background 2 to its yellow input. And same as before, custom tool 1 to its gray input. Below those, create a switch node, then connect matte control 1 to its input 0, and matte control 2 to its input 1. You can check by placing the cursor on top of one of the inputs, it will reveal the name after a bit. Select this node stack, create an underlay and rename it color. Okay, so we almost have everything we need. The last node stack will do the hard work and pretty much control the whole effect. So pay attention, alright? I love you. Up here, we create our second switch node. Call it switch 2. Connect its output to the yellow input of bitmap 2 and bitmap 3. Next, create a background node. It should be called background 1. Yeah, this is the background one. I'll move it a little bit to the left and create a transform node called transform 2. We don't connect those two to anything for now. Grab those three, create an underlay and call it effect coverage. Ooh boy, cool. We have our full node tree now. What's left is to add expressions so we can control everything from our custom tool. So let's start from the beginning. Open the inspector. For bitmap 1, click on invert. Enable expressions on soft edge by right-clicking on it, then expression. Then paste this expression. As the name describes it, this will control the blur on the edge of the effect. By the way, all expressions will be in the description in order of appearance, so go there in case you get lost. Now, go to the image tab and set clipping mode to frame. Okay, next one. Go to transform 1, set edges to duplicate, enable expressions for center, and paste this expression. This one controls the thickness and angle of our edge by offsetting the coordinates of the center value, which is a point value inside Fusion. It uses the edge thickness value from our custom tool 1 and the angle value from transform 2. If you want a more in-depth explanation, paste this expression on ChatGPT. Seriously, it will probably explain to you without even the need to say this is for a Fusion expression. Next, merge 1. Set operator to in, go to the settings tab, then enable multiply by mask. Let's go to bitmap 2. Set the channel value to luminance. Enable expressions for level, for low, and for height. Use this expression for level, controls the edge opacity, and use this expression for low, and this one for height. Pause. This is basically crunching the values from whatever is connected to this node. It normally consists of 2 values, but to avoid cluttering the tool with parameters, I made it so it controls the crunching with the edge intensity control from our custom tool. We can also control the position of said crunch to expand or contract the edge by using the edge width value from the custom tool. Now go to the image tab, then set clipping mode to frame. Okay, brightness contrast to 1. Enable alpha and set the contrast value to 1. Also enable clipping for both black and whites. Bitmap 3. Set channel to luminance. Enable expressions for level, low, and high. Use this expression for level, and use this expression for low, and this one for high. And this is my dumbass from a day after recording. Forgot to tell you that you should also enable expressions for soft edge and put this expression here. This allows you to blur the sweep in case it's looking too rough. Go to the image tab, then set clipping mode to frame. Alright, let's go to background 2. Set the color to full white. Go to image and enable expressions for both width and height. Then use this expression for width and this one for height. What this does is to grab the custom tool output resolution. Basically, this makes the resolution for background 2 to follow whatever you input before custom tool 1. If you don't do this, it will usually try to follow your timeline resolution or sometimes even reset to 1920 by 1080, at least in my experience, so this is an attempt to fix that behavior. Next, matte control 1. Go to garbage matte, then enable invert. Do the same for matte control 2 as well. Last one here, switch 1. Right click on source, then edit control. Change the input control value from multibox control to checkbox control. Okay, to our final node step. We'll start with switch 2. Go to the config tab and change the number of inputs to 3. Change name 0 from input 0 to sharp. Change name 1 from input 1 to linear. And change name 2 from input 2 to smooth. Go to background 1 and press F2 and rename it as background 1 underscore sharp. Then connect this output to switch 2 sharp input. Go to the image tab and enable expressions for width and height. Use these expressions for both values. Similar to background 2's expressions, this one takes the resolution output from custom tool 1, but this time it compares both width and height and takes the biggest value. By using this same expression for the width and height of our background node, we make sure this background is always a square created using the biggest resolution value. This is made because if not, the sweep might get squashed when playing with the rotation value and we don't want that. Unless you do, I don't know, you do you, okay? Go back to the color tab and change the type to gradient. Grab the white handle and make it full black. Now create a new handle around the middle. In fact, make sure it's at the middle by changing its position value to 0.5. Now change its color to full white. go to interpolation space and change it from RGB to LAB or LAB, I don't know. I don't know what this does, but it gets the result I want, so just do it. Enable expressions for start and end, and use this expression on start and this one on end. If you ever play with those values, you may now notice that they are also point values, similar to the center value of a transform node. That means we can also control its position and simulate rotations using expressions. In this case, we control the distance from the center of the frame using the size control of transform 2. The bigger the size, the more the start and end values are separated. We also do some magic math using center X and Y combined with the angle value of transform 2 to fake a rotation. Pretty cool, eh? Pretty cool, eh? Take this node, then copy it and paste it 2 times. Change background sharp 1 name to background 1 underscore linear, and change background sharp 2 name to background 1 underscore smooth. And now connect linear to linear and smooth to smooth. Now for background linear, change interpolation space from LAB to RGB, or LAB to RGB, fuck me. For background smooth, do the same, change interpolation space from LAB to RGB. But also, grab the full white handle on the gradient and move it to 0.4. Then create a new one and move it to 0.6. Also make sure it's full white as well. Now, if we play with the switch values, we have 3 interpolation modes. Why do we want this? I don't know, more style options? After Effects has it, so why not? Put this value back to sharp and leave it there for now. Okay, so now what do we do with this transform 2 then? Everything is already connected to it, so we don't really do much other than setting up the default values. In this case, we will try to mimic the default values for the original CC light sweep effect. So size has to be 0.5, angle has to be at 30 degrees, and the center value has to be at 0.5 for both X and Y. And that's it for node 3 really. You can preview the different nodes to see what each one does before packaging. Once you get bored, just select everything except the media out node and whatever is behind custom tool 1, in this case a media in node. Right click on any node, then copy. Now to package this into a tool or macro, we'll go to a page called macrolab.app, created by Matt McCool to replace this disgusting thing that is the native macro creator from Resolve. Resolve devs, I love you, but what the fuck is this? Anyways, once in there, right click on the text box, then paste, and now click on start. Let's start by disabling all the input selections. In this case, I have an input on transform 2 for some reason. Now, search for custom tool 1 and enable R or custom buttons. This will reveal them to the user once the macro is done. Also, select custom tool 1 as input 1. This shows the yellow input from our custom tool to the final macro. Search for transform 2 and reveal center, size, and angle. Change size name to width and angle name to direction. Search for switch 2 and reveal source. Then change its name to shape. Search for switch 1 and reveal source. Then change its name to cutout. Search for background 2 and reveal red. This will reveal all the colors on our macro. Delete alpha since we don't use that and change red name to color. Also drag all the color sliders to 1. This makes the starting color of our effect to be white. Search for merge 3 and right click on the input button. Then select effect mask. This reveals merge 3 blue input on our final tool. Also reveal apply mode. And blend? Okay, if this happens to you where a value that's supposed to be there is not, then try by searching the parameter name to see if it appears. Blend on merge 3. Change apply mode name to blend mode and change blend to opacity. Also change default blend mode to luminosity. Oh yeah, I forgot this one. Search for switch 1 and select it as output. Now let me zoom out a little bit so we can see all our controls. Okay, let's sort this out to be something similar to CC Light Sweep. And there we go. Put in a nice name, something like the video. Like the video, fucker, like the video. We leave it as a group operator so we can ungroup this tool if we want to see how it works later down the line. And hit download. The regular Resolve paths to store this tool are usually the ones that appear on screen. If you also want this tool to show up on the edit page, then try with these directories. If these two folders are not showing up, then you can create them manually. I had to, by the way. And that's it. We now have this amazing tool that you can use and reuse for any animation or whatever you want, really. If you have any question, put it in the comments. If you have any suggestions for future videos, put it in the comments. If you have the urge to avoid Fusion at all costs from now on, don't be a alright? You're trading an hour of your life to make a tool that will save you days and headaches. But I'll allow you to complain about it in the comments, so go ahead. Go ahead. I dare you. Anyways, thank you for watching, I love you, give me money, bye bye!